Hi, today we're going to set up our chicken run for our meat chickens. This is the area that we had them in last year. We just took it down over the winter. We did start out with the meat chickens and a tractor, not the orange one, but the one right there. We found it was just a real pain to be moving that every single day, and we don't have a very big yard, so it didn't seem to work very well. So what we did last year, and you could probably pull up one of our videos from a year ago, we got a poultry one electric fence, and it was a 100-foot fence, so we could make a pen about 25 foot by 25 foot. And then we set up a hoop house using a couple cattle panels with a tarp over it, just to give them somewhere to get in out of the weather or wind or anything. And it worked really good. So they had plenty of grass to run around in and bugs, and they lived a little more natural life. Makes for a healthier chicken, I think. So this is the area where we had their hoop house before, and you can see it's still pretty bare. It takes about a year or so for the ground to come back to original because the chicken poop is such a hot manure. So what we're going to do is we're going to set their hoop house up over here on this side. Nice green grass. We just cut it, so there's some dead clippings everywhere. All I need to do is make sure that I have enough room to get the tractor down beside the fence over to our compost pile. So stay tuned and you'll get to see how we go about doing this. Hi everybody, it's Ron from R&K Homestead. Kim's back at the feed store picking up some more chicks. She'll be here in a little while to give me a hand. So as I stated in the intro, today we're going to set up our run for our meat chickens. Right now they're about 2 weeks old. Another couple weeks they'll be ready to come outside once they've fully feathered and everything. So first thing I need to do is to measure where the hoop house is going to go, and I'm going to use some about 1 foot pieces of rebar on the sides of it to hold it in place, and then a couple guy lines to hold it up, because there's no real structure to it except for the cattle panel itself. And then I'll be putting a tarp over the top of that to keep any weather and the sun beating down on them, give them somewhere to go. So all right, so I'm going to start with the measuring. So the cattle panels we're using, they're 4 feet wide, 16 feet long. We used 2 of them. We made the opening of the hoop 4 feet wide, so it's going to be 4 foot by 8 foot. Around 5 feet tall, so we can at least get in there and change their water out and their feed out. And to attach the 2 panels together, last year we used just zip ties, and it worked pretty good, but taking it down, I broke some of the ties, so I'm gonna just replace the ones that broke, and then we'll get into setting it up. So now I've got the 2 panels tied together with some zip ties. They're cheap. We just get them at Harbor Freight. So here's the rebar. I get it cut down at my local hardware store. If you've got a cut-off wheel, you can cut them off yourself. It's not too hard to do. Bolt cutters aren't a real good idea. You'll really be fighting it, but. So I want to stay away from where the electric fence is going, which will be about out to here. I want to give them plenty of room to go between the hoop and the electric fence. So I'm going to put 2 stakes on each panel. That'll hold this end. And then I'll measure 4 feet in, put 4 more stakes, and then we just lift the hoop up into place, and this will keep them from moving. So I think I told you wrong. The opening's going to be 8 feet wide. realized that when I went to start measuring. So I did the stakes on the one side. Now I'll put the stakes in on this side. Alright, so that'll hold the hoop in place once I bend it up into shape. This will be easier with two people, but I'm going to try it by myself and see what happens. Well, I did it. Not sure if you heard my grunting on video, but I got it in place. Now I'm going to put some rebar in. That'll be on an angle that'll help hold it in case a big wind comes up. It won't blow it off once the tarp's on. So as you can see, one stake right here held it when I raised it. It's keeping the fence from going that way. And then I drove this stake in over the top so it'll keep it from lifting off the ground once we have the tarp on there and there's a high wind. Okay, so I've got 2 more pieces of rebar. And what we're gonna do is use these as guy lines. It just helps keep it shaped in the wind. So I'm just gonna guesstimate right now where it needs to go. I'll put one on the other side. Okay, so there's the basic shape of the hoop house. If it was off center a little bit, which it is, I need to pull it a little tighter to the left. So that's how to do a basic structure. From here you can do almost anything you want. So what I'm using to tie this off with is called mule tape. It's a flat line, breaking strength, depending on the width that you buy, it could be a couple thousand pounds. And I use that for everything. It really holds good and it doesn't get all tangled up very easy. So it's really, really helpful around here. I picked up a roll on Amazon. So let me show you the setup we did for our quail and our chickens. So this is what we set up for the chicken coop. Same size, same height and width, except on this one we just put up a wooden frame and a doorway. That gives it the support so you don't need the guys going off of it. And we did the same thing for our quail. So it's very, very versatile. It's very inexpensive. I think we picked up the cattle panels at Tractor Supply for like $23 a piece. So it's not too bad for building a pretty good structure. So now this summer over in this area, this is our butcher station for our meat chickens, and it'll be for our rabbits when we start butchering this year. I'm going to build a storage shed for some hay and the plucker and the scalder and all the equipment we need, and our equipment for our beehives, which we're starting up over here. So the structure I'm going to build for the shed, I'm going to use 4 panels. So that's going to make it 16 feet long by an 8-foot opening on both ends. And I'm actually going to try to make a door in the center of the tube of the structure. So you'll have to wait and see how that turns out. All right, so now we need to just put some tarp on this. I'm gonna pull the tarp off the quail coop because it's starting to get a lot better weather, and we don't have any quail in the bottom part of that coop. So, all right. So this is the tarp that we're using on the quail coop. We don't have any quail in the lower, so we don't need the cover over it. But here in Oregon, with all the rain, we have a long, wet winters. So I wanted to cover up the chickens completely and the quail completely, just to keep them from being so wet. We just use zip ties to hold it in place. There is a video on how we set this up for them last year. And you really don't have to spend a whole lot of money on these tarps. I mean, we used these all last year, and they're still good to use this year. So all the screws and zip ties are out of the tarp. I can just pull it right off the top. You see, we did put a roof, this plastic roofing, over part of the hoop house for the quail. We have the same thing on the chickens, so that they do have some protection, getting it out of the sun during the day. So, all right, now we're ready to put the tarp on the other hoop. Look, everybody, Kim's back. So we just had a little disaster with the chicks. We just posted a video of that earlier. So now we're gonna go ahead and put the tarp up on this. So we'll do the overlap on the
Yep. Better. Not quite all the way to the ground. I think we were one up.
I want it all the way to the ground. Hold the back.
Alright, come on right now.
Alright, so we've got the tarp all tied in place. We've got the guys on the side tied off. Now we're just going to take the slack, because this tarp is bigger than the hoop, and we're just going to tie it up inside just to get it out of the way. So this is the hoop house for the meat chickens. Very simple to do, and I mean, Kim is standing up inside, and she's 5'10". So, all right, well, after we get this done, then we'll be setting up the electric fence. So here we are the following weekend. This is our Premier One electric fence. It's a 100-foot fence.
Storage for the winter.
We took it down and just stored it for the winter. So now we're going to be setting it up around the hoop house that we made for our meat chickens. So our electric fence, it's a 100-foot fence. So we're going to try to make this about 25 foot by 25 foot. It's not probably going to be precise. We order our fences with the gate, so you can either, that's separate, so either you can get it without the gate, or gate just makes it a whole lot more convenient. So we're gonna go ahead and spread this out and see where our measurements get us. fill the fence up. Unfortunately, if you have a pre-existing area that isn't your 25 by 25, then you got to take up slack in little zigzaggy areas. So like right here, we angled the fence out, but we still need to get back here along this back fence. And then we angled it here to come forward. But hey, it works. We've got it because we need space right here between the fence, and this is going to be our corn. So we need a walk area here. We need a walk area in the back. We've got 2 apple trees starting here. And then back where our mulch pile is, I need to be able to get our little tractor into where our mulch pile is. So we couldn't go too far this way either. So this will work. So it's roughly maybe 25 by 30. So now we have the corner supports to put in, and I've already got the charger going. Now when you get your fence, or if you order them separately, they have these plastic posts that you can use for your corner supports. If you don't want to use those, we use these cheapy T-posts, as long as you don't touch the fence with them. And then we just use cord from the T-post to the fence. So when you order your fence, it does not come with a ground rod. This is one of their ground rods. If you're going to be moving your fence periodically, get the one with the T-handle. Then you can pull it up out of the ground easy. The one we have for our chickens, that's permanent, so I just did a straight ground rod, piece of rebar. But if you need to pull it out, get the one with the T-handle. Alright, once we get the solar all ready and set to hook up, we'll show you that process. I've run my ground rod right here next to the fence. And this is where I'm going to be putting the solar panel, the charger. This is it. Now these chargers come with a 3-year warranty on everything except the battery. I think the battery is like 90 days. But I did have to use the warranty. Had ants get up inside and got around the circuit board, and they fried the circuit board. So I got a hold of Premier One, and they sent me a new circuit board. So I've got that hooked up, and it seems to be working just fine. So, all right, so this stand, I'm gonna pound it into the ground, and then there's a slot that the charger slides on. I filled the inside battery compartment with DE to hopefully keep the ants out of it this time. So I just slid the charger on the base. I was pounding it into the ground. So it's very simple to hook up the wiring. Here's your positive lead. Just clip it to the metal clips on your fence. And then your positive goes right here. Negative goes on this side. And screwed it all the way. It just makes it easier to see the hole in the post to put the wire in. Alright, then your other end of your negative goes to your ground wire. And that's it. So on the back side, you have a power switch, which is right here, and it's turned on. You see the blinking green at the button. So we have voltage going to the fence. Now, when you buy the fence, you get this little tester. And when you touch the fence with it, not getting a very good reading. I don't know how well you can see that. That's full power there at the top. And we'll try on the other side of the gate. So on the other side of the gate, we're getting full. Try not to get shocked while I'm showing you, but you can see the top light is lit. So that means we're getting full power from start all the way around to the very end of the gate. Now, if you want to test it, just grab it and find out what happens. You're more than welcome to. All right, so that's how we set up our meat chicken run. They still have about 2 more weeks before we bring them out here. So we'll do up a video on that once we do. All right, so if you have any questions on any of the fencing or the hoop house or anything like that, please leave a comment below and I'll get back to you on it. I'm not really sure about how to put links down below and all that mess, because I'm doing everything with a cell phone. So, all right, well, you take care, stay safe, and please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And even if you didn't enjoy the video, can you give it a thumbs up anyway? All right, till we see you next time. Bye-bye.